All right. I will go ahead and get a couple of things started in our opening. See how many we have on with us so far. We just got a handful. We have about 20 people registered for today. Okay, well, I have 105, so I'm going to go ahead and get going. We're going to get started. So good afternoon to those who are here with me and that was able to get on today. Good afternoon to you all, and thank you all so much for joining us today for the second food security work group. This session will be focusing on advancing solutions and resources for campus food security. Part of what we had started discussing was having some different toolkits for this housing and food security work groups, as well as some best practice documentations and informational documentations. And so we're trying to pull that all together. We're happy to be able to do that today via this work group session. So just briefly, our agenda. We're going to review the objectives of this particular work group. And we had, I think most everybody that's on here was a part of the last work group session. So we'll just kind of skim through those that information from that meeting and then go into the vision and goals for the food resource or digital resource library. And we'll go into breakout groups and then a whole group. And, depending on the size, again, we may not do a smaller breakout group, which we did that in one of our other sessions. So that's okay. And then we'll look at prioritization and the next steps. So again, we are very much aware of our mission and our vision here of building capacity of higher education partners to accelerate progress on student success and bringing together people to support one another, share new ideas, scale what's working, and inspire a culture of continuous improvement. So the last work group we had involved a panel discussion, and just wanted to quickly recap that because some of that information is going to definitely be utilized in this digital resource. And we had some great information that was shared from UK. We talked about the One Cafe, which was an affordable dining opportunity. We talked about the Swipe Ahead, which offered 10 meal swipes for students who were in need. We discussed the pantry access, meeting different dietary needs. We talked about donations for citations and how that helped to support the funding of the pantry. And then we heard from EKU and their SNAP and EBT work on their campus and their partnership with Aramark to do that, as well as a partnership with Gott's Pantry and SNAP screening to have the SNAP screening and assistance. Sky CTC shared the central pantry and their culinary classes for budget-friendly meals, which was very helpful to know and process. And then we looked at some policy insights, things that were challenges, things that, were some policies that we have at some different campuses that were in place that, could use some tweaking or possibly change to help to bolster the food security efforts, as well as some financial aid awareness and how some of that impacts food security for students, and using FAFSA data for EBT eligibility, EBT and SNAP eligibility. So here is the vision and goals. So this is an introduction. So what are we going to do with all of this information? You know, we're gathering this information and we want to do something really well with it. So that vision, that centralized hub for food resources, the accessibility and equity, as well as the holistic support for students. So what we would like to do is have, again, a unified, user-friendly platform that not only staff and faculty at our campuses can use, but students can go on and they can navigate that for themselves as well as for their peers. And it would include all of the food-related resources as well as programs and services that were available both on and off campus, you know, in the surrounding communities of the campuses that are providing service to these areas. So whether it's like a BCTC that has a main campus in Lexington, but they're also in Lawrenceburg, you know, that unified resource is going to be able to provide resources for all of those areas, all of those counties that are served. The expected outcomes, what we desire to do this with this is to increase utilization of the food resources that are available. You know, we've discussed several times of the reports that come back. Students are not always aware of these food resources that are out there. So we want a higher number of student engagement with these resources and with hopes of leading to a reduction in the food insecurity on our campuses. We want to look at how this opportunity can enhance access to food options and contribute to better academic performances as well as overall well-being for our students. We want to use this as to have insights that are gathered in one place. So all the evidence-based decision-making that's happened, all of that hard work that our many campus partners have done, you know, across the state to get involved. We want to make sure that we have that information gathered in one place, whether it's the identifying trends. We're going to look at the gaps and areas for improvement and use that information to be able to provide the layout for this platform. So we want to look at all those pieces, and those are definitely our goals. I'm saying something in our chat, so I'll try to get to that. Okay, thank you. We definitely understand. David, regarding schools with a food pantry, if your food pantry is in a highly visible location, do you find that some students choose not to use the pantry because they feel embarrassed being seen using the pantry? Oh, that's a good one. Thank you so much for that question. And also feel free to unmute at any time or raise a hand. I'm happy to get you in. Thank you so much for that question. And David, from our conversations, we've heard some mixed reviews on that. And we totally understand them both, right? We've understood that some students are just like not sure, like, oh my gosh, it's out in front of everybody. But then we've also talked to some folks that discussed about how they intentionally had it in an area where a lot of students accessed it with the idea of breaking down that stigma and showing that everybody is welcome to it. You can come in and out as you please and as you need to. I know we discussed some things like that at the University of Kentucky when I oversaw the pantry. And there were a lot of, you know, mixed feelings, but when the students were surveyed, they didn't mind at all. It was very few that said, you know, they weren't sure, but if they saw other students accessing it, they'd be more open and willing to use the pantry if it was in a, you know, a high traffic area. So I think it'll probably take a little bit of time for students to get past that, you know, oh my goodness. But, you know, like all the some of the other resources and things, when students see, okay, you know what, other students are using this resource and it's open, it's available. And the more we encourage that, you know, you too can access this resource, because what we found that a lot of students do is they talk themselves out of using the resource because, you know, someone else needs this more than me. And, you know, I shouldn't go in there. But once they see that everybody can utilize the resource, I think we can help with breaking down that stigma. That is a great question. Thank you so much for that. Going into our next area. So here are our different goals specifically. We want to have a detailed listing of on-campus food pantries. We want to know where your pantries are. If you're on a campus that has different options to, or different pantry options. Like if you have satellite campuses and they have pantry options, we want those things to be listed as part of this directory. We want to see what those meal programs are. So whether it's a dollar cafe or whether it's a community meal setting like some other campuses are doing, we want those to be included. We want for those community partnerships to be included. So if there's a partnership with a local food pantry itself, there's some God's Pantry is here. There are several campuses that have partnerships with God's Pantry. And then there are some that have partnerships with pantries that are like with Community Action Council, that are with churches and other nonprofit organizations. We want those types of partnerships to be included and to know what those services and resources are that they provide. We want to look at the off-campus food assistance options even beyond the pantry. So again, is it a meal during the holiday that is being offered and served? Do they have some type of meal prep assistance? Or is it, some other program and assistance where it's, you can get some screening for SNAP and EBT benefits? We want to know what the off-campus food assistance options are and where they're located. Students often have an idea of where some things exist. They don't know where they are, who to contact for them. They don't know their hours and all of that. Just they don't know the logistics. And so it's a resource that can't be utilized because they don't have enough information on it. So we want that to all be included so that it could be, this directory could be comprehensive. We want it to have an advanced or an enhanced navigation and searchability process. So we want to look at some different tools and search functions where students can look up specifically like meal swipes and SNAP assistance. And one of the things that, we've continued to discuss is dietary specific options. Some students say, I don't know where to go to find halal friendly, diets. Where can I go? Can I go to this place or that place? So those things can be noted for students to help them to be able to search that out and find that information a little easier. We also want to focus on education and awareness. So we want links included that would provide recordings or opportunities to attend workshops on food security, as well as nutrition information, best practices for grocery shopping. We've done actual workshops on how to grocery shop during the different times of year and the different seasons and things like that, because a lot of students openly admitted during one of our surveys that they didn't know how to grocery shop. That wasn't a responsibility of theirs. And now they're on their own and they're just trying to figure it out. And, once they learned how to better grocery shop, it really saved a lot of money. And the money that they thought they didn't have to go grocery shopping, they did. They had a lot of the resources there. And at the very least, if they didn't have all of the money to do the shopping, they then learned how to go to the pantry, get things that they needed there to supplement what they got from the grocery, and then make recipes and be able to meal plan for the rest of the week or a couple of weeks. But being able to process that was actually really needed and got some good reviews from students. So we want to offer some education and awareness opportunities like that that's built into this platform. And then looking at collaboration and partnership. We want to foster partnerships with local organizations as much as we can. We already have some partnerships with connectors, but we're trying to build a relationship with some of our government programs so that we can, add more support as much as we can with DCBS and all. Campus departments to be continually updated and expand, the resource library with information that they may have available. And the more people that we have involved across our campuses and understanding how important their partnerships is to, local organizations in our state, I think the better, more comprehensive our resources can be for our students. And we want to look at opportunity for feedback. So we'll have a place where we can collect some feedback along the way, especially from you all as we are building this out. And we want to make sure that it is relevant to our students' needs and that it's effective in meeting the students' needs. So we'll also be including some students to be able to look and make sure that we are meeting these needs. So that is our vision that we're looking at. Those are our goals that we're looking at for this digital resource library. And we have a breakout room. Let me go back and see who's there. Good afternoon, everybody. We don't have a lot who's there. So Olivia, we're gonna do like we did at our last session. We're not
Okay.
going to do the small breakout. We're just gonna do just the whole group. And we can have a very intentional conversation and discussion around identifying the existing food resources on the campuses and in the community, and how this opens us up for collaboration opportunities, what collaboration opportunities they've attempted and are navigating, needs for advancing the food security. So those are our topics. We have a little bit more information, and feel like I'm stepping into Olivia's area here. So I'll turn it over to you so that you can discuss more and then bring that up. And I think I need to make you a host, Olivia, so that you can share your screen.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Let
I've
me
made
see.
you co-host. And if you need me to just pull up the link to the mural board, I'm
Yeah,
happy to do that.
that would be awesome. You can just go ahead and do that.
Okay.
Um, and I will also put the link in the chat so everyone can have access to that already.
That is great.
Hmm.
Okay. And then you want me to just start at like one of the top ones?
Yeah, you can just use like the first one since we're not using the other
Perfect.
sheets yet. I can't see the Miro board just yet. Is it?
Is it still on my other thing? Let me change
Yeah,
the
it's still on the
screen.
PowerPoint.
Okay,
It's
thank you.
okay.
Can you see that now?
I still can't see it. I can try sharing my screen if that's
Oh, okay. I can go to the entire screen share if that's helpful.
okay. Let's see if that works. Oh, yeah, I can see it now.
You can see it there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll just minimize or put everybody over in the corner here.
Yeah. Okie dokie. So the purpose of this mural board is to help us identify what campus resources are already in existence, and also within the community, like Ariane said. And then I think something I also want to highlight is collaboration. That can mean like small scale or high level collaboration. Like that could be like a follow up meeting or collaboration that you want to have in the future with different partners or campuses. The goal of this document is to kind of be like a roadmap for building out the resource library. So we can see like, okay, what resources need to be highlighted in which section, and just to kind of get a sense of like what's already out there. And then also we also want to understand like what do campus partners need to advance food security on campuses, like is that marketing or outreach resources, like what can we do to support that work. And then the outcomes that we want to see from this mural board is to help document points of contact for the future. So if you see someone that is working on an initiative that you also find interesting or it could be helpful for your own work, it's like continue those partnerships outside the conversation of the work groups, and then also help us contribute to building out our future initiatives at the collaborative. That's like the overall goal of the mural board. Obviously, we're not doing like the breakout rooms anymore, but it's just kind of like a roadmap so we can all just collaborate and contribute ideals to, and just be like a document to reference in the future if needed. So does everyone have access to the mural board or need to log on still? And you can, I think because it's like a small group, we can also just like talk out the ideals too, and like I can document the on Miro, just whatever you all want to do to make it more effective. Um, let me know. That was really fast. I feel like I hope that made it better. Okay.
Yeah, we have a small
Um,
group today. Thank you
I'm
for offering
working on
that.
signing in,
okay.
setting up an account.
Oh, does Mickey set up an account? Oh, okay, that's good to know for future reference.
So I vote that we just talk and let Olivia record it.
Yeah, that sounds great. So we can start with, let's see, let me get Miro pulled up. Um, so what are some campus food programs that exist on your campus already, like pantries or beyond that, or what are some community partners that you are working with to advance food security? You can just shout it out too if you feel comfortable.
Well, I can share with you regarding Sky CTC, South Central Kentucky Community Technical College. We have two primary services. We have our traditional food pantry, but with that, we do a food delivery service. Um, we have our main pantry on our main campus. We have 5 other campuses. Students at all of our campuses, or even if our fully online students, can go and fill out an online request form. That request form comes to me. If they can't come to the main campus because they're living a good hour away, they can pick their closest campus. We will shop for them based on what they submit on that form, and then have that food delivered to that campus for them to pick up. So that is one service. And then we also have what are called grab and go stations at all of our campuses. So for our students who are physically on campus, if you know, there's never a question asked. We have different locations. We have these tiered carts with various items that are breakfast related, lunch related, that are either microwavable or just, as is. So like tuna and crackers, those prepackaged meals, uh, breakfast bars, nutrition bars, all that kind of stuff. And then each campus director or their executive assistant, when those grab and goes need to be restocked, either I go or I send one of my student ambassadors with product to go and restock the grab and go stations.
Awesome. Anyone else want to share out?
I will, as I think most all of you are aware, so KCTCS now has 16 connectors, one assigned to each of our colleges. And they are recently authorized to assist with SNAP and CCAP applications. In addition to that, we, as Clarissa is well aware, we were able to expand our ready to work contract targeting TANF KTAP clients, and can now case manage, coach, assist, support SNAP employment and training clients at our colleges. Unfortunately, we haven't seen a lot of those folks yet, but we are ready, willing, and able to coach them and case manage them when they arrive.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, I got that noted. And also, if you like feel like if you want to just go ahead and add sticky notes, like a section, feel free to do that. Like if you have like an idea or a question, you all can contribute whatever, however you would like on Miro as well. Any other current programs that want to be shared out or initiatives?
So at OCTC, we have a food pantry on our main campus. No restrictions. Students can come in at any time and get what they need, and what we have available. You know, it's not always fully stocked because, you know, we run out of food pretty quickly. Our TRIO program has a pantry in their area for their students. We have another pantry at our downtown campus, which is where our Workforce Solutions is. So they operate a food pantry as well. And in all honesty, I'm not sure of you know, whether or not they have any restrictions on that. But David, I would be interested in knowing where do you get the money for your pantry to fund it, and how do you, who does all that work? You have a
Uh,
lot of people involved.
so our funding comes from a variety of sources. There's grant money that comes in that our foundation puts out, you know, submits. At our annual convocation, there's always an opportunity to ask faculty and staff to do their payroll deductions. I put money in out of every paycheck specifically towards our pantry. Uh, so that's the primary financial area. We have recently partnered with Houchins. So they've done one donation. We actually are expecting another big donation coming up before classes begin. Our staff council does an annual, actually every semester we'll do a food drive. Various student organizations do food drives. I incorporate into some of our events and activities the opportunity to, for example, our Fall Fest and Spring Fest, our SGA incorporate a club carnival where the clubs can win money by getting the most participants at their events. We don't charge for it, so students get free tickets. But once they run through their tickets, if they want to get more tickets, they can either buy them or donate food items, which then go to the pantry. Now, as for management of it, you're looking at the person. So it's, you know, when it's time to restock, if we're not getting a food drive or a donation, I will contact our foundation, get our P card and our Walmart card, and I'll go to Walmart. For general items, I go there. For the grab and goes, I go to Sam's Club. So I'll just go and take a couple hours, and our Walmart's sort of right around the corner from our main campus, and I'll do that. I'm lucky that our dean, one of our deans and campus directors, Dean Harlan, who's over our nursing program as well, who manages one of our far away campuses, also spends time on the main campus. So I can arrange with her to do food deliveries and, or since I do hours at all of our 6 campuses, I'm housed on the main, but I will travel as well. And since we're all Wi-Fi, I'll just bring my computer and work from that campus that day or something like that if necessary. Plus, I have my student ambassadors, which are, or I should say, who are at our school there. Once they're hired on, they're employees. They're just part-time employees, so they can drive our school vehicles. And if they, pass the check and all that, and so I can have them also do the deliveries.
Great information. Thanks.
Anytime.
Any more ideas for the security programs or initiatives, or should we move on to another section? Okay, we can move on. Something that I was wondering about, or just curious about, that I heard about was the case management aspect. How is that addressed at other campuses as far as case management, and what tools do you all use for case management of pantries or other initiatives?
So at OCTC, our pantry is managed here on the main campus, is managed by our Dean of Student Affairs. So she does the primary shopping and, you know, stocking her office with the assistance of student workers of the pantry. And, you know, of course, we do have, you know, the food drives and so on, and are able to receive the funding, just like, you know, Sky through the foundation. So, you know, like David, she'll get the card and go shopping whenever she's able. So it's really, you know, that's a challenge because you know, you do have in the community college realm, people wear so many different hats that it's just a challenge to get people who have the time, and not does not have the time, but you know, to jump on initiatives and get them going and keep them going.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
A couple things I would add is that I am aware that Jefferson, for example, and I think there are probably a couple other KCTCS colleges that have a partnership with their local, and I forget what they call those community-based food entities. You know, at Jefferson, and I think Gateway's probably is another of our colleges where they'll get regular donations and like a regular allotment of food from that larger community entity. I apologize that that name isn't coming to me, but that's a wonderful collaboration that some of our colleges were able to generate. And then my other comment, in addition to that, some of our colleges have figured out that it's a very good practice whenever a student engages with their food pantry to refer them to their connector for assistance with a SNAP application.
Thank you. I'm like typing and also like trying to. I see that David raised his hand. You can
There
go
is
ahead.
one other program, if you will, that we do through our pantry for the holidays, specifically Thanksgiving. Every student who has used the pantry prior to Thanksgiving, I reach out to and ask if they would like supplies for Thanksgiving. And when I mean by supplies, if they confirm yes, we get a turkey, stuffing mix, green beans and mac and cheese, and a roasting pan. And I then just schedule a time. And luckily, our program director for culinary lets me store all the birds in her deep freeze and all there. And then I just bring my laptop and I set up by that area at one of our other campuses, and I schedule times for pickup. And we'll do that. I've been doing that now for I think 3 years. And I can tell you now, I'll be honest, I take great pleasure at being able to provide this. But then the other thing I really like to do, and this is kind of goofy, I love being able to go to the supermarket and walk out with several shopping carts of like 36 to 40 or even 50 turkeys. And I have to bring my ambassadors with me because, yeah, and we have a train of carts with birds. So, yeah, that's something else we do at our school. That's all funded through the foundation, by the way.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Any other resources or tools that you all are in need of in terms of advancing food security. Okay, we can move on to the next section. Well, the question is, how can you potentially collaborate with other institutions? And I also should have added like community-based partners or other government agencies. Like, how would you like, I guess I should say like, not like in a dream world, but how would you like want to collaborate with like different partners? Like if you had like the ability to, or if you already have in the past, share those ideas.
So
Yes.
I'll jump in on this one. One of the things I really want our pantry to be able to do, I want to be able to provide access or the ability to purchase fresh produce and or proteins, meat, fish, whatever. So I'd love to be able to partner with, out of the various counties that we service, our grocery stores, so that I don't have the space or the ability to store fresh produce where before it goes bad, or the refrigeration for the proteins. But I'd love to be able to, I'm going to say the GC word that I'm not supposed to say, gift card, but some kind of certificate or something that I could partner with various grocery stores, that they know that if a student walks in with this, they can use this, say a $20 gift card, not gift card, but certificate, where they can then go into Walmart, Myers, wherever, and that it will be accepted now, but with restrictions of just either produce, fresh vegetables and fruit, and or proteins, steak, chicken, ground beef, pork, seafood, whatever. I need to find the time to go store to store, talk with managers, but that's really what I'd love to be able to partner with and find someone to do that. Because I think that will make a huge difference. It's great. I'm sorry, I really don't want to do canned meats. I will, and I do, but I'd rather give access to fresh if possible.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I was just like thinking in my own head, I'm like local grocery stores could, be a good point of contact. Like that's really awesome. Any other collaboration points that you might see in the future? Anyone else would like to share?
Well, this is Shauna again, and I would, if this is the place to like recommend potential collaborations, I have come to learn that there are connectors employed across the state by a variety of different agencies. The Primary Care Association connectors that are on our college are very clear about their primary role is around healthcare and connecting people with Medicaid and affordable healthcare programming. However, I have learned that there are a variety of other connectors out there employed by a variety of other agencies and entities. Some of them, and Clarissa, please correct me if I'm wrong, some of them employed with the main goal of SNAP assistance. So I would encourage institutions to find those community connectors, particularly those that have SNAP assistance and support as a goal, and partner with them.
Okay, so does anyone have any other ideas or questions that were not covered in like our three main questions?
I was just gonna
Oh,
add
go ahead.
to, I couldn't find the unmute. Um, just add to what Shauna was saying, because where I work, we have a SNAP Ed, and a SNAP outreach group or analyst, program specialist. So they may be able to help like connect with those SNAP connectors or connect with the ones that are doing our SNAP outreach. Because the connectors are, like she said, are employed by others within the community. And then also SNAP Ed, I can find out, or they can attend the meeting next time, what services are provided with SNAP Ed and SNAP Outreach that can help the colleges find more resources, have more activities and services that you can add for your students. So, well, I was just sitting here and thinking I should have invited them. But, I can do that for the next food security meeting and kind of explain what's going on with the student basic needs, the collaborative, and hopefully they can provide more information about the connectors, about what's available out there for those on SNAP or who has food insecurity that they can connect with other than if they were on SNAP. So I just wanted to add to that may be additional resources that you can add to this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Reese. As I said, I'm still kind of learning the lay of the land with connectors. And as I understand it, there are SNAP connectors that have regions that they're assigned to, as opposed to the current KCTCS primary care connectors who are kind of limited to a college's campus. So and focused on healthcare. So yeah, I think that would be especially important, although I'm not sure there are any four-year folks in this conversation today, but that could be especially important and helpful for them.
I'll jump in as not that long ago for your institution person who oversaw the pantry. And you're certainly right, Shauna. I partnered with two connectors at the Community Action Council in Lexington. And their connectors were able to come out to basic needs fairs and provide information to students, as well as help them to do the screening processes and help them with applications if they knew that they were eligible or were having problems navigating their application. Also, I worked with God's Pantry, and they had a connector who volunteered to come to our campus because, as you mentioned, she had a region. So she volunteered and was like, I could come this day of the week, I think it was like Tuesday, this day of the week, and could set up shop around campus because like other, campuses, they're pretty large and spread out, and some students were kind of missing opportunities when we were holding them at the pantry. So she didn't mind kind of moving around campus in like meeting room areas to offer resources and help students navigate SNAP benefits as well as others. But we specifically were, focusing on food, and that was really helpful. And so, like you said, there was two different organizations that we were working with, and they were both connectors. So that was one was with the God's Pantry, and the other was Community Action Council.
Any more ideals or questions? They can be big or small ideals. It can be anything. If not, we can move forward. But I just want to give everyone space and time to share out if they want. Or you can type in the chat too. Don't forget that. You can also do that. Okie dokie. Ariane, do you want to move on to the next part of the whole group discussion?
Sure, sounds good.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you for helping with that.
Oh, no problem. So to segue to like the big group discussion, even though we've been a big group, um, I guess additional questions. So I guess for like the goal of the resource library is to help address gaps in food access on campus. So a question we have is like, what are some of the gaps that you find students are facing as far as um, availability of resources? If that is like, I know you all have mentioned like staffing has been an issue, like student ambassadors, like what are some of the gaps that you all have noticed?
And I would like to add, as we're processing that we're looking at the gaps, and I've actually noted a couple of them that I heard while there were some discussions. And because we're looking at having this information provided as a resource, if there is something that already exists, or if there is a process that could be built out that another campus has already done, we want to be able to identify what that is so that we can have it as a part of the digital food resource. And so, we want to look at those challenges students are facing with accessing the food resources, both on and off campus. And I heard David, and I love your thought process. Pantries, sometimes we have limited space. Sometimes we don't have the equipment. I know at UK, we were like so gracious when we had created a partnership with Kroger with having received the refrigerator, but we still could only put certain types of drinks and, like sandwich, meats and things like that. We could not hold items that really needed to be put in the freezer. And then we finally got a donation of like a kind of smaller freezer. I'd call it like an apartment size or like, residential hall size freezer, and it didn't hold a lot. So, it wasn't until some years down the line, maybe a year before I left, so a year and a half ago, that they got a large enough freezer to be able to hold items that needed to be frozen or a little bit colder than just the open, refrigerator concept. And so, being able to troubleshoot, like, what does that look like? And David, if you're able to accomplish that, like, we want to know, like, how can we sort that out? Like that, it could be definitely a best practice if you're short on space or even the ability to process that. There are many people that are trying to navigate, how do I get these partnerships? There's a part of this digital platform that we want to have WKU to be able to advise on, because they have a partnership with their local farmers market, and they come and they set up, for students to be able to purchase fresh fruits and fresh vegetables, and they have that assigned, and they come out at a certain time of the month, and students are able to come and use their resources. We'd love to be able to navigate how can they use a certificate that's been provided to them from the pantry to go and purchase these items if they don't have it within their own budget to be able to do that. And so these are things that we want to be included, so that as we're all navigating, when that time comes for us to get to those points on our campuses, how can we do that? Who's doing it, and how can we make it work on our campus? But again, it's filling in, those gaps. So I just wanted to add a little bit more context there.
So I think that, we've identified, I think the two major gaps, and that's funding and, personnel to run the pantries. And two, that infrastructure that, you all have been referring to, the space needed, and then the, refrigeration, freezers.
Mm-hmm.
And
Any
then
other?
if we
Oh,
look
sorry.
at, oh, it's okay. I'm sorry, Olivia. If we look at specifically what you would need, what you need to see in this resource. So if you could, I mean, think beyond your wildest dreams. We're not even going to be logical right now. We'll taper down logical later. If you could just say in your wildest dreams what you would want included in this digital resource library, and this is something that you're going to be able to go onto your campus site, go into the basic needs website and click digital food resource library. What do you want and what do you need to see there?
I would think it could be helpful if colleges could see the major food collection pantry initiatives in their community, so they could reach out and connect and partner with them, like Jefferson has done in Louisville, and I think Gateway's done in Northern Kentucky. It seems like they could bring additional resources and donations to the table.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely agree with that, Shauna. That makes me think, so with the partnership with God's Pantry, it started out with just being able to have a certain level of partnership with them, which means that you can go and shop at God's Pantry for reduced price. And then, David, I love your shopping. And I was cracking up as I was picturing you, because in my former life, I was a family resource center coordinator. So I know what it looks like to go through the grocery store with all those different things. But being at that level of a partner, one of the things that I liked when I went to UK was I would get the outreach and opportunity to do the Thanksgiving program with them. And so I was able to go down the list of students who have been utilizing the pantry, and then I could send that flyer and outreach and say, here's the timeline. And then the timeline comes quick. School starts in August, and like you had to have that done by like the end of September. It was like a really quick turnaround. But I'd send that out, and then I'd have students who had, been engaged, in the pantry, and they'd say, yes, I want to participate. And then I just take my big old truck and I'd park it on my pickup day. And then God's Pantry would load up a box that had a turkey, and it had a case of eggs, and it had potatoes, and it had, box to make a cake. I mean, all the different things that you could want was in these large boxes. The first year I thought it was great. We're going to go and take this all out to the pantry. I quickly learned that maybe we don't want to do that, because then you have students who were like, I don't want that turkey. And the last thing you want is to then keep turkeys in your pantry. They would take everything else. And so then students who had transportation issues, the next year we set up, a delivery, and we just had a delivery day, and we're going to meet at this central locations that are, as close to the students that as we could. And students just came and, grabbed and picked up these boxes. That came from that partnership with God's Pantry. And then there's another level of partnership, and there was a MOU that was involved with that partnership, but that allowed us to shop, participate in Thanksgiving boxes, but also with the food rescue programs that they had. And so they work with different agencies, like one I remember was one of the pizza restaurants. They did it with Starbucks. They did it with Kroger. They did it with a lot of different locations. And what would happen was you could sign up to participate with whichever pickup spot it was. And I'll go through the downside first. The downside is if you said Kroger and you go and Kroger has like 1,000 pounds of lettuce, well, you need to take the 1,000 pounds of lettuce, and nobody wants to do that, right? But the great and beneficial thing was that, we were able to unload for free, not shopping, unload for free all of these fresh fruits and veggies, and, or if they called us to come and pick up the food from the pizza spot, or from I'm forgetting their name, I just said it, the coffee shop, and pick up their sandwiches and their little cookies and snacks. And we could pick those all up, and then we'd make an announcement at the pantry, and we'd say, hey, it's that time, guys, come and get a pizza, come and get this. We got fresh fruit, we got veggies, and whatever was left, we created a partnership with the food rescue program on our campus, and then they will come and unload, all of that lettuce that was left behind, or all of that other things that we just weren't creative enough to figure out what to do, or students couldn't figure out what to do with it. They would then come and take it so that it wasn't, wasted on our hands, and then they would do creative and amazing things with it. But that's all of the different levels of partnership with God's Pantry. So again, Shauna, I really agree to that, because there's so many different ways that we could utilize those types of relationships and partnerships that could really benefit.
Yeah, and then the other thing that comes to mind is, in terms of being available in this digital library, would be a list of all of the SNAP connectors across the state and how to get in touch with them.
That's great.
I have a question just that anyone could answer. So how do you all like market like the food pantry or like other food initiatives on your campus? Are you using like, social media? Is it like through email, word of mouth? Like what are some of the ways that you all market your work?
Sky uses a shotgun approach. We do everything. So word of mouth, we train faculty and staff to know about the sign up form to request from the pantry. We use our two different newsletters that come out of marketing every week. Our student ambassadors are, every new student gets an assigned student ambassador, and part of what they do is send out a weekly newsletter in addition to a whole host of other things for that new student. So the newsletter is used, our Zybo screens, which are, I don't know if every school has those. They're those linked TVs that are at all of our campuses. So we do promotion that way. We have ad slicks, hard copy, that we provide at various events on campus to promote it. I can be a loudmouth, so I'll talk about it at various times. When we do campus tours, both as part for new students, as part of our orientation options, we announce it. I'm sure I'm forgetting other ways. But so yeah, we have a logo for probably everything. So we try to get that on things as well to help promote it. So, oh, and then through like it's promoted by the way that we do food drives that also help get the word out that, oh, we have a food pantry. So
Awesome, thank you. And then our
Yeah,
next,
same here at OCTC. Yep. Same. Word of mouth is huge though, and referrals from faculty and staff. Faculty mainly.
awesome. The next
And-
question. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, and just going back to the question of, what would you like to see on the resource? Best practices from all the different colleges, so that, it can be used as a resource. What are ways that, each college can improve upon what already exists?
I got that noted. And then our next question, as a group to address or answer, is how can the resource library address the needs of students? And I think that I thought we kind of already answered that, but if there's like other parts to add, feel free to shout them out. I know a lot of
I think if we adjust the focus to even look at, and I'm sorry, Olivia, because I just branched it out a little bit more when I was making like my notes for this slide, was if we think about that both in the immediate and long-term needs of the students, and a lot of our immediate resources, like we discussed the pantry and things like that, but then we've also discussed long-term with getting them connected to connectors. But If you could think about the immediate resources your students often need where there's a gap or not enough information, so we could include that, as well as like the long-term needs that we have for students. Like what would that look like? I know long-term, another example as a campus resources, was mentioned how UK has the one cafe. Like that's amazing, right? Because $1 you can't, I tell my kids all the time, I used to be able to go to the store with $1 and come out with like 4 items, and you can barely come out with one now. And so students being able to take $1 and get an entree and 2 side items is pretty amazing. So definitely going back to what Barb was saying is like some best practices. That's one of the things that I'm working on right now, and is getting with UK and their partnership with Airmark. How did you make that work? How do you get that to happen? What are their process and procedures? What's the good, the bad, and the ugly, and the things you wish you knew at the beginning, so that we can have this information put into this digital resource when other campuses are ready to, process doing an initiative like that, to have the information already there. But yeah, what does that look like? Immediate resources as well as, long term, when we look at what our students need.
So are you asking about related to food?
Yeah.
So what are their immediate and long-term needs?
Mhm. Some of the things that I've also heard and I've made note of, and because I was in this role, y'all, it's easy for me to just talk all day. So I don't want to do that. But one of the things that I noted was for, information, and how do we, relay some of the information there. And so having it here is great, but then there also needs to be an opportunity for learning what's there. And so Clarissa was even sharing about the SNAP Ed and the SNAP outreach group and how they can teach and share this certain types of guidance. But I'm also wondering, if they have resources that we can actually embed in the platform. So if there's a step-by-step guide to, access, and complete the SNAP application, or, other programs or resources, like what does that look like? We've also talked about, with the actual basic needs website, being able to do a training for, I think should be an all campus training, because basic needs and student success is all the folks, right? But being able to offer a training that equips our staff and our faculty, our students, in the basic level of resources and information. And so if we were going to provide some training opportunities or some recorded workshops, or, some food security 101, like anything like that, like I would consider that to be like a long-term like resource. That's something that we can put into this platform, and it is going to continue to serve all of the people for all of the years, as we just update it. And so just thinking, I'm trying to process if there's anything else that's out there that we could come up with that would meet some of those needs long term, and continue to provide resource and information. And if we don't have it yet, that's okay. I am very happy to, I'll say, continue to receive emails, because I get a lot of folks that will say, hey, I have this idea, or hey, we discussed this, and they didn't get a chance to share it out. Please email us. Also, this is going to be uploaded to the Impact Exchange. So if you have some ideas, feel free to post it to the Impact Exchange. I am very open and would love to be able to continue these conversations. For those who are not even here today, they can look and see, this video and add their thoughts and ideas, and we can continue the conversation as we engage with our students. And we know the different times of year look very different. And when students first come on campus, there may be something else that's going to hit you, and you're going to be like, oh, this is an idea that has come to me, and this is something that I really want to discuss. And we'd be very much open to that and being able to have that as a part of, an ongoing discussion in the impact exchange, or like I said, email it to me and I'll post it. Olivia, did you have any other questions for this part?
No, just those two main questions. But if anyone has other questions to add or thoughts, please do. Open to feedback, 'cause that's constructive.
Thank you. And so now, as we're nearing, trying to make this a tangible, item, something that we can actually utilize. We want to look at prioritization and next steps. And so, Liv, if you don't mind, can you put that link into the chat for me?
Yes.
We're going to use a Mentimeter or Mentimeter to prioritize the ideas. We're going to vote on what you think is most important or most useful or even feasible ideas for this resource library. Olivia's putting that link in there, and I'm just going to pull it up on my screen as well so we can look at it. And this is just looking at making sure we're including what needs to be included. And if it's all of these things, great, that's fine. We just want to know what areas we should be focusing on, right now versus some, other areas that we may be able to address later. And so if everybody could start just clicking and dropping their options in order, you can rank them with, if the highest priority is your first and the lower priority would be your last, or the number 7, the 7th thing that you would click on. So we have tools and resources, and that includes templates and guides for presenting food resource information. We have research and data. We have campus and community food resources. I know that's going to be number 1 for most folks. Communication and outreach to raise awareness for the food resource library. This is going to be a big one. I don't know, that might tie it, because that communication and outreach, how do we make that work? What are some best practices? How do we communicate all the resources? What does this outreach look like? And how are some campuses doing that? I really loved hearing what SkyC TC is doing with their students in that carnival, and having them to use donations instead of tickets if they, run out of funds for the tickets. Like, that's really a great way to, gain, pantry stock, to build that back up. But it's also a great way to advertise, like the pantries here, like you said. So that's pretty great. And then educational workshops and trainings, just like I just kind of mentioned, we're looking at the different information that is needed for our students, for our staff and faculty. Like, what is the information that is needed there? And we want to make sure that it's provided and in one place, so that folks don't have to run around and do all this research on what are some of the best practices for campuses around the country. And there are some that exist out there. There's some that have been doing that. We did a lot of that research, when I was at UK, try to figure out what are some best practices, what are some things that work, that don't work. But having it in a centralized location, I know would be very helpful, because as it has already been noted by folks on this meeting here, that time constraints and, not having enough people, we don't want you to have to run around and find it. We want to have it all in one place. And then the SNAP resources and guidance, how to navigate that. As Sean said, having a list of those connectors and how to get to those connectors, and the community resource agencies that house these different connectors in one place would be great. And then the best practice programs, some of these programs that have been noted as a best practice. That's gonna be great. So let's see. Saw some notes. I think we're almost there with ours. So I'm gonna do mine really quickly, and then we'll see what other folks have.
And I can share my screen so we can see like the results and how it's like
That'd be
shaping.
great. Okay. I'll stop sharing and you can share.
Mhm.
Okay. That's good. So that's kind of what I had in mind. Thank you for making that a little bigger for me. Um, so the campus and community food resources is number 1. Number 2 is best practices programs. And 3, SNAP resource and guidance. 4th, communication and outreach. 5th, educational workshops and trainings are tied very closely with number 6, tools and resources, including those templates and guides to presenting the food resource information. And then last is the research and data. So this is great. And 1 and 2 is kind of what I thought. It's very it's neck and neck with its level of importance. But this is really good for us to know what you all need out there and how you would want this digital platform to work for you. We could come up with all the ideas and just, you know, put something together and make it really pretty and cute. But to be able to have something that is actually meeting the need, that is, you know, your idea of what is going to help answer questions that are being asked, that are going to provide the information to fill in those gaps, is going to be great. I love being able to meet and have discussions with folks across the state when we do these workshops or basic needs convenings and things like that. But I also don't want for folks to have to wait until we have another one to be able to navigate some of this information. When I also think about turnaround and retirement, I know one particular department at a university right now, they've got 4 folks in this office of 5 that are getting ready to retire this school year. And I thought, oh my goodness, now how amazing would it be if this student facing office had access to something like this? Because there's going to be, I think it's a turnover. There's going to be a lot of people that are gone, and a lot of new people that are hired in, and they can go right to this resource bank. They can go right here and have access to the information. They can click on some of the trainings and workshops. They can build their knowledge, and students are not going to miss a beat. You've got a new person, you've got a new director, you've got a new case manager, but it's going to still be okay because those people are going to be able to come right in and have access right at their fingertips and be able to navigate these resources. And it's going to be comprehensive and statewide. And so that is, again, our goal for this. And you all's participation in navigating this is very important because, again, we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our campus partners and not just what we think you all need. And so again, thank you all for this resource. I just want to make sure that I have made known like some of the next steps before we hop off of here. And although we usually have been putting like 1 to 3 on these, it's just to make sure we have enough time. Some of these last work groups, I knew that we would just probably be on here for an hour and a half. So I want to make sure that we get off in that exact time. The next steps is going to be some data collection and content development. Going to be gathering some of the detailed information on the available resources, some of these best practice programs. Like I said, getting with some of these offices and Airmarks and figuring out how they did these things. EKU has kicked us off already with being able to provide the information from their Airmark coordinator, and they gave us a detailed step-by-step of how they made this thing work. And so that is going to be included. We want to continue to build out on that with some of these other best practice programs. This is going to include me reaching out to campus partners and local organizations and stakeholders to make sure that their information and their play-by-plays are available to you all. We're just at the beginning and creation stage for our communication teams, and they will be designing the structure for the basic needs web page and the website. And so we want to make sure that as this group is being formed and they know that's their ultimate goal, that says, hey, we've got this digital food resource library that needs to be included in there. And these are the things that we want. So that's going to be awesome because this is just very happening at a great time. And then collaboration and feedback. I'm going to continue as we're working on this. There's going to be an opportunity for everyone to see what's being created and, offer feedback and, collaborate and offer your ideas and input. And if you know any, communication folks and tech folks who know how to build up some of these things well, feel free to recommend them for our communications team because they're going to have a great involvement in building out the basic needs webpage where this would be housed. And we want to look at the opportunity to kind of play around with it, pilot it a bit, and then have a good rollout for campuses to be able to, take that link to this platform and embed it into the webpage. So as we move forward, your continual involvement and feedback is very crucial and greatly appreciated. And we appreciate you all joining us today for this work group. Encourage those that you may know who did not get to join us today to jump on and watch and listen and make some notes on the Impact Exchange. I know that we're coming to an end of summer, and that looks very interesting on all the campuses. I know I've left the campus life and I communicating with my friends and I'm looking at the campus calendars and I'm thinking, oh goodness, like things are getting crazy and this is going on and, everything. And, so I want to make sure that as we go back into our traditional community of practice meetings and basic needs, network meetings and all that, we are able to come back and say, this is what we worked on over the summer. For all of you who had a lot going on, the work still continued. This is what we accomplished. This is what we did. This is where we are. And we can pick up where we've left off as a full community of practice and keep this going when it comes to food security and housing security. We've got some amazing initiatives in the state of Kentucky, and I think it's going to really be great for our other campuses and our other institutions to be able to collab and being able to model some of those same services and resources. So again, thank you all very, very much. If you're not on the Impact Exchange, there's the information on how to get there, and just make sure that you click on to the SBN channel. There are a few more minutes that we have available here. I will stay on if there are any questions. And if not, you all have a lovely Friday. Thank you, Shauna. Have a great weekend.
Bye. Thank you
y'all.
all.
Good to see y'all. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ariane,